Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am 12 Kyle. Check this out. On this episode, we are going to be taking somewhat of a trip down memory lane. There's a saying that with every song there contains a memory. And, over the years, as I've grown older, I found that to be true. Like you can pretty much pinpoint maybe when and where you started listening to a particular song, and maybe it might bring you back to a certain person or maybe a certain time in your life. Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about just that, some memorable songs, and talk about maybe the memories that, help create these particular songs. And listen, I'm not doing this show alone. I mean, it's not every day that you have a celebrity podcaster in the building. If you're watching on YouTube, he has to cover his face because, money, billionaires can't show their face on camera. You know what I'm saying? Like he's in an undisclosed location. And I hope and pray that you all are watching on YouTube just to see this guy. But he is a real person. He is one half of the almighty Frocast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, no stranger to the show, friend of the show, been on here several times, back in the building, my man King Jerm. Jerm, what up, baby?
What's going on, 12 Cow, man? What's going on, 12 Cow Nation? It's your boy King Jerm, a.k.a. the People's Champion, a.k.a. your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Joining y'all today, man. I got to tell you, man, 12 Cow know how to bring you out, man. I swear, boy. Hey, listen, you got to come and experience the rollout of the 12 Cow show. It's amazing.
Hey, man, I'm just glad you're here. I mean, like I said, you came through, you got your mask on like Ghostface Killer back in 94. So, I mean, this is what's up. Yeah, you know what? It would have been dope if he'd kept the mask on.
Yes.
It would have been dope if
he'd spirit alive. I'm trying to keep it alive, Ghost.
There you go. So, what's interesting is this topic that we're going to talk about. This is something that you text me, man, probably about 4 or 5 months ago. And, I tell people all the time, like we really, particularly those of us who are really deep into this content game, and take it very seriously. We were really at the point where we treat these podcast episodes like albums. And so sometimes you might reach out and say, hey, we need to do this or we need to do that. Or you might reach out to another, podcaster. And it may not happen right then and there, but what it is this, the equivalent of back in the 90s when somebody said, hey, man, we need to get together and do an album. Like, oh, yeah, we'll do a song like that. And then eventually the song happens. So, like I said, we talked about this probably about 4 or 5 months. I don't know if it's been that long, but it's been at least 4 months. And I was going through and I was like, man, I got to get Jerm back on it. I was like, I keep everything in a in my notes. And I went back to my notes. And I'm like, you know what, man, that's the podcast that we were supposed to do. So I hit you up and you was like, yeah, I'm ready to do it. So, so what we're going to talk about is song memories. Now, here's the great thing. We got 5 each, right? You got 5, right, Jerm?
Yes, I got 5.
Okay. And I have 5 as well. And, we're going to kick back and reminisce like Pete Rock and CL Smooth. I don't know what his 5 is. And he doesn't know what my 5 is. Hey, my guess is, if I can guess, King Jerm, of your 5, 3 will be R&B songs.
Let me look at the list. 1, 2.
Okay. I was close.
2.
I was close.
No
country western songs.
Nah, no country western. No country.
Okay, western. I don't have any country western songs either. If you had to guess before we get started, how many R&B songs do you think I have?
Probably 2. I'm gonna go with 2. I'm gonna stick with 2. No, I'm gonna stick with 2.
I actually got 3. Yeah. The hip hop cat is coming through.
Yes,
but I got 2.
I know Flo Millie is on one of them.
From sure. Mobile, Alabama. Flo Millie. All right, Jerm. So let's go ahead and get it started. What's your first memorable song that you want to talk about? And then talk about the memory that comes with the song.
Okay, the first song I got on my memory is Uncle Luke, Scarred. And it came out in 96. It actually came out around graduation weekend. So I graduated in 1996 from high school, and that was the song that was playing at all the graduation parties. It was a crazy song. And every time I hear Luke Scarred, I think about the graduation party that we had, or some moment, right before I almost drowned in the swimming pool, something like that. So the Luke Scarred song always brings me back to graduation weekend. And it's every time I listen to it, it just takes me back to 1996, June 2nd, every time.
Man,
Every
listen,
time.
excuse me. That song has a lot of memories, but it wasn't graduation. Sheesh, when that song came out, boy, I was at South Carolina State University.
Right. Hey,
King
take a shot,
Jerm.
people. Take a shot, people. The 12 Cal Challenge. When he mentions South Carolina State on the show, you have to take a shot.
Well, they might be a little tipsy by the end of this episode. Yeah, man. That song brings back a lot of great memories, man. I will say this. I sweated out a few perms, sweated out a few perms that year. It was a good year. It was a good year. Um, let's see. My first song that I want to talk about. I can I probably should have wrote down the year that it came out, but when I tell you these songs, you'll remember the years.
Okay.
It was a song. Well, first, before I even go into the song, question for you, King Jerm. King Jerm, have you ever been dumped before?
Of course. I'm a
Okay.
man.
Okay. I mean, there's some macho people out here who swear up and down they've never been dumped. I'm not
Hey,
one of them.
look, they didn't know. They was in denial, or they didn't know they had been dumped.
Right, exactly. For me, I did get dumped. And the first time that I got dumped, a young lady decided to play the following song in the background as she was dumping me. The song was entitled Let's Wait a While by Janet Demita Joe Jackson. Jerm, I'm not sure why she chose to play this song, but she literally was on the phone with me. Shout out to phone calls. We used to have the phone, music in the background.
Had to set the mood.
Yeah, so she literally was breaking up with me and dumping me. And she was talking and I heard the music in the background. And I'm like, okay. And I'm listening. And and she's telling me like, this just ain't working out. I like you, but I just don't see this going anywhere. We should just be friends. And then Jerm, the next thing I hear, then she played it again.
She cold.
She literally rewound the tape. Shout out to the rewind button. She literally rewound the tape and played it again. And she still was in the process of, I guess, because she wasn't finished, right? She literally rerun that tape twice and played it the entire time that we were on the phone, and she proceeded to dump me. And I just said it, dog. There wasn't nothing I could say. I was disappointed, obviously, but yeah, man. So as much as I love Janet Jackson, as much as I love her music, that song, man, I got a sour taste in my mouth because of that song, man.
Damn, 12.
Sour taste. Yep, Janet Jackson.
She cold blooded. A girl did break with me one time by playing "Lately" by Jodeci. She told me if she's like, if we on the phone and you hear this song like 5 times, that means we breaking up. And so she would keep a countdown every time she played "Lately." And then when it got to the last one, I was just like, well, I mean, I guess we're breaking up. I mean, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't stop you from counting the song and playing it, so we're broken up now.
So is this in one setting or like over a period of time?
This is just like, she was telling me this like it was over the summer. So every time we'd be on the phone talking, she's like, so it might be when she played one time on Monday, one time on Wednesday, one time on Friday. And so when she got to the number that she said, she was breaking up with me. So when she got to that number, I was like, well, I guess that's it,
Wow.
And so I could have had that song on my list, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. That's funny. That is funny. I will assume that you were pretty young when this happened.
Oh, man, definitely. Because this is when Lately came out. So it
was. Okay. So that's what, 92, 93? So yeah. Okay.
There, yeah.
Okay. What you got for your second song?
My second one, I'm gonna go with Pastor Troy. No More Playing GA, 1999. I was in Atlanta at a strip club. We had came down that weekend. We had rented a 2000 a lac. You know what I'm saying? We had rented. Me and my buddies. We was like, man, we're gonna go to Atlanta. you know, in your country ass mind, you think you can go to Atlanta and outstunt somebody. No, you're not going to do that. Okay, so let me just tell you, all you out of towners, you're not going to come to Atlanta and stun on anybody. Because you could turn the corner and see a Ferrari, turn another corner and see a Rolls Royce, turn another corner and see a damn private jet. So don't try to outstunt nobody in Atlanta. Okay.
Nope.
So we think we rented this lack. It was expensive. We was like, yeah, we're going to go to Atlanta. We're going to show out. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So we go to Atlanta. We in this lack. We go to the club. And I hear all these gunshots and this song comes on. The beat is just going crazy, and this lady is on the stage doing her performance, and her performance was amazing. And it was just like her performance plus the ambiance plus the song plus where I was. It was a lot. My sensories was overloaded, and I was just like, "This is the greatest song ever." I was like, "I don't know who this guy." I mean, I asked somebody in the club that night. I was like, "Yo, what song was that?" He said, I heard Castor Troy. And I was like, that's the stupidest name ever. And so I was like, Castor Troy, like from the movie Face Off? And, so I go to like the little flea market the next day before we leave. I'm going into the flea market asking for the Castor Troy. And the African dude was like, you mean Pastor Troy? I said, no, I don't want no gospel album. I said, this dude's name is Castor Troy. He said, no, you want Pastor Troy. I was like, listen, man. What he was saying ain't no pastor saying that.
Right.
Saying? So he was just like, no, I'm telling you, this is it. So he showed me the CD, and I looked. I seen the song was on there. I said, cool. On the way back to North Carolina, I listened to this album. And to this day, that's still one of the most rawest albums I have ever heard. Like, for him to be the first album, he made that whole album in 12 hours. The first song he ever crunk out was No More Playing GA. That is just, that album is one of my top 10 hip hop albums of all time, rap albums, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But yes, that moment, 1999, Pastor Troy in the strip club, that song, it sticks out. Every time I think about that lady performing, the way she commanded the stage with the gunshots, and she owned the stage that night. Okay? She owned the stage, and it was amazing.
Which club was it?
Strokers.
Oh yeah, man. Listen. That. Honorable mention. I'm gonna just sidebar real quick. And same spot, Strokers. One of my boy Zell came down, and it's funny because we went there and he was just like, I just want to go out. So that's where we ended up at. And when we got in there, we got settled, we sat down or whatever like that. The DJ played this song, and like the whole club went crazy. And he was like, yo, what is this? And I mean, like, I didn't know what it was. And then, so maybe an hour later, the DJ played the song again, and the whole club went, when I say the whole club went crazy, drug dealer dudes over here knew word for word. Now, this song, to my knowledge, wasn't even out yet. It wasn't on the radio. It had been in the streets, I think, for a couple of weeks, but it wasn't on the radio. Nobody, so I didn't know. I had never heard it before. And so all of the dancers knew the song too. So Zell was getting a dance, and the song came on, and the chick, she stopped dancing, and she was just like singing all the words. And he leaned over. He's like, yo, man, what's this song? He's like, man, what's this song? He's like, this is an Atlanta song. I was like, I don't know. He's like, man, how you live here and you don't know the song? I was like, I don't know. Jerm, the third time the song comes on. By this time, it's about 1:30. Strokers is wall-to-wall, treetop tall. I mean, like, the walls are sweating. It is at its apex. Everybody's in there jamming, and every single person, with the exception probably of me and Zell, knew the words. And then maybe about 45 minutes later, we were actually walking out the club, and they played it again. And the whole crowd, even the people that were in line that heard it on the outside, they knew the words. And I was like, okay, man, I need to know what the name of this song is. So the next day I looked it up, song by a guy who I'd never heard of. Guy's name is Gucci Mane. And there was a guy named Jeezy with him. The song Icy. And so every time I think about Strokers, anytime I go into Strokers, well, I hadn't been to Strokers in a couple of years, but every time Strokers, I think about Icy. And I mean, like, that song had not been out, but it was, when I say Icy from Gucci Mane and Jeezy, when I say it had the streets on fire, it had the streets in fuego. I've never seen, and that's, if you've been here to Atlanta, you know that a lot of times, the street songs get their play first in the strip clubs first. And, that's how, cats acts like Future and those guys take off, is because, and Migos too, because if your music can bump in the strip club, then it's going to take off to the streets and then subsequently the radio. And Gucci Mane, to my knowledge, had not even had I don't even know if he had another song out at that time.
No, that was his first one.
Okay. And I didn't know him. Jeezy had a little buzz, I guess, but it wasn't like that. But that's you took me back with that one. Let's see. My second song, memorable song. Jerm, have you ever played a song that has gotten you in trouble in your household when you were growing up as a child?
Absolutely. I was my mother actually banned me from listening to hip hop. I just wasn't going for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because the final straw was when she found the Digital Underground sex package. Now listen, I was only like 11 when that album came out. I wasn't having sex. I didn't know what a sex packet was. I just knew Do What You Like and Humpty Dance was on this album, so I had the tape. So she found it. She telling me about a condom. I'm like, I don't know what a condom is, Mom. Like, what are you? I don't want you to listen to this rap music no more. And I was just like, well, that's not finna happen. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, she got upset. I got NWA cut in my head. You know what I'm saying? And, it was just like, I was all about hip hop. So, yes, I've gotten in a lot of trouble. Luke, nasty as I want to be, got me in trouble.
Shout out to Luke.
All that got me in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, I've been there.
Okay, so you know exactly where I'm going. I've talked about this on other podcasts, and it's worth repeating. My number two, any songs in no particular order. Number two song got me in trouble at home. A little ditty by the name of Easy Does It. This was when the tape first came out. It was Eazy-E's debut album, which we will be reviewing this year as this album turns 35 years old. We'll be doing that later. Yeah, I know. We'll be doing that later this calendar year. And so there's a little interlude on the song Easy Does It before the song starts. It's actually Michelle A. And I had the tape. In my pocket. I took it out. I got home from school and I put it in the tape deck. And at that particular time, Jerm, I actually had headphones that were as big as the headphones that I have on now. They weren't Beats or anything like that. It was just regular. I think I got them from my uncle. They were like studio headphones. So I didn't have the regular Walkman headphones, but I didn't know that you didn't necessarily have to be near me or in the room with me. And if you had it up to a certain volume, you could hear outside of the headphones. And so I'm playing Eazy-E and I'm listening. I got it in my headphones. So I'm thinking nobody's listening. My aunt happens to be walking by as the intro comes on. She hears the intro. She's like, what is that? And I'm like, what do you mean? She was like, play that again. So I played it again. And then, obviously Eazy-E tells Michelle A to shut the fuck up, bitch, and blah, blah. I mean, so he's cussing her out or whatever like that. And she was like, take that out. She was like, I'm going to, she was like, I'm going to talk to your mama when she gets home. And I was like, oh Lord. I'm like, man, I definitely don't want to talk to my mama. And so my mom gets home. And I mean, I'm in middle school. And so my aunt's like, play that tape that you was just listening to. So I put the headphones on and played it. I mean, my mom, probably maybe 10 seconds. My mom was like, where did you get that shit from? I'm like, I couldn't. And see, at the time, I couldn't tell her where I got it from. One of my boys who had dubbed it for me. I was like, I found it at school. And she was like, we don't be in here cussing like that. You take that shit and you go put it in that damn trash can. And so what I did was I put the tape in my pocket and I was like, yes, ma'am. So I walked out the door and I walked past the trash can. I acted like I was putting the tape in the trash can, but I put it back in my pocket because she saw me walk past the trash. She never saw me put the tape in the trash can. And it was at that moment where I knew that I was sold and hooked on hip hop. I mean, don't get me wrong. Eric B. and Rakim, Run DMC, all of those guys made me want to listen to rap. But this right here made me addicted to rap because here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. There was an element of NWA's music as well as Eazy-E's music that was, rebel like. If you forbade me to listen to it, that was like, oh, you telling me I can't listen to it? Watch me.
Mm-hmm.
Watch this. so um so a lesson to those parents out there listening: be careful what you ban your kids from doing or watching or listening to, because here's the thing, they're going to find a way.
Yep.
We found a way in 1988, so we didn't have the internet. So I mean, like, you tell your kids, don't watch this, don't listen to this, whatever the case may be. I mean, if they're curious enough, they're going to find it anyway. I mean, you can put all kind of blocks, and you can't let them have TikTok and all of this stuff. They're going to find a way. So I have my mom to thank for me and my love for hip hop, because if she hadn't told me to throw it away, I don't know. I mean, I probably still would have listened anyway, but it was just the fact that I could be a rebel now, because I wasn't a troublemaking kid, but now I could be a rebel because she said you can't listen to it. And I'm like, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna listen to it.
And then you go around your friends like, your mom let you listen to Eazy-E. Like, yeah, I get to listen to Eazy-E.
That's
like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And she never knew. I mean, she'll know probably she watched this episode, but to this day, she still don't know how or why. And like I said, I loved hip hop before the rap at the time. I loved it before then, but that right there, that move right there, changed everything for me. Changed everything. What you got on number 3?
Number 3, man. So I'm gonna fast forward to 2003. 2003, I became a father for the first time.
Okay.
My son was born in September, and the biggest song out in September of 03 was "I Like the Way You Move" by Outkast. And I just remember, like, the nurses were singing it at the hospital. Everybody in the family was singing it, just like it was on the radio all the time. It was just everywhere. So I always correlate my son's birth and "I Like the Way You Move" because it was fish grease at the time of his birth. And so whenever I hear this song, it just takes me back to my first time being a father. And
wow.
So, yeah. So that's the song is connected with that.
Okay. Look at Jerm being grown.
hey, listen. This could have went way worse.
Yeah, I think I mean that's special. I'm trying to think. I can't. Yeah, well, you know what? There was no. I don't think there was any music or anything like that playing when my kids were being born. That's what's up right there.
It had to be a big song out at the time.
Oh, there were big songs. But I can't think of what one of that type of story where you were associated with what actually transpired in the hospital.
Yeah. It was just weird because it was like everywhere you go, you couldn't escape that song. It was just
right. Oh yeah, it was huge. It was huge.
Jesus, oh my gosh, so it was crazy.
Yeah, you couldn't get past that song. That song was everywhere.
Yeah.
My number 3 song, King Jerm. Have you ever been in a car accident before?
At the behest of my lawyer, yes, I have been in a car wreck. Yes, I'm injured from this car wreck, and that's all I can say about being in a car wreck.
Okay,
so yes.
I don't want you to dry snitch on yourself. He said on the behest of his lawyer. King Jerm, I was in a car accident. I didn't hit. Fortunately enough for me, I didn't hit anybody. The year was 2000 something. It was early 2000s. And I happened to be on Interstate 85. I was leaving Atlanta, Georgia, headed to Charlotte, North Carolina for the annual football game between the South Carolina State Bulldogs and the North Carolina A&T Aggies.
2 shots, y'all.
And it was what we used to call the Carolina Classic. I'm sure you've heard of it, King Jerm.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're from up that way. So yeah, I was headed to the Carolina Classic, and King Jerm, on this particular day, I was, doing something that I probably shouldn't have been doing, King Jerm. I was, right before I got into this car accident, I was traveling on Interstate 85. I was going north, like I said, headed to Charlotte. I was probably somewhere between Greenville, South Carolina, and Spartanburg. and I was speeding.
Oh, okay. My mind was somewhere else.
I was speeding. I was above this. Well, here's the thing, Jerm. In fairness to me, I wasn't above the speed limit, but I was what they call driving too fast for conditions.
Okay.
And the reason being is that it was pouring down rain. I mean, it was raining so hard that other cars were moving off to the side. Okay. And your boy 12 Kyle was in the left lane passing everybody. And you know why, King Jerm? Because earlier that week I had put the magical rain X on my Nissan Sentra. So as the rain was falling, it was just scattering. I could see clearly. Mm-hmm. The road wasn't an issue. And at that particular time, King Jerm, I was bumping a little hip hop duo out of the area of Queensbridge by the name of Mobb Deep. Mm. The song was called Hell on Earth. This song is memorable because I was doing about 75 on I-85. And again, I shouldn't have been going that fast because the rain was coming, but Jerm, I could see. So in my mind, I'm like, well, I got to get to Charlotte. Because I was already, quote unquote, behind schedule, right? And it's pouring down. And I remember I went from the right lane to the left. I went from the left lane to the right lane. And I was listening to Hell on Earth, and the title song came on, Hell on Earth. And all of a sudden, I hit a patch of water. I didn't see the water, Jerm. I just hit it. And the next thing that I know, as Hell on Earth is playing, my Nissan Sentra starts to turn. And I start to turn. And my Nissan Sentra turns, and I turn. And I'm turning the steering wheel. Well, I'd heard a while before was that, like, if you ever get into a spin out, turn the tires the way that the car is going. And I think that's what I did. Nonetheless, by the time that I finished spinning out, I went from the far right lane through the left, because there's two lanes, through the left lane into the median and almost into the incoming southbound traffic on Interstate 85. The back part of my Nissan Sentra was actually sticking out to where if someone were coming down Interstate 85 south, they could, in the far left lane, they could have hit me. And all of,
So I'm not laughing at it. I'm just, I know you was like, oh shit.
And all of this is not my fault. This is the fault of Havoc and Prodigy. And so, because I'm superstitious, to this day, I will never, ever, ever, ever listen to Mobb Deep in my car. I haven't listened to Hell on Earth outside of my house ever again. Because it's they bad luck. They bad luck. Now, you know, if you play the first album, you know, if you play the second album, yeah, you know, but if you play Hell on Earth, if I'm in your car and Hell on Earth comes on, we got to get out of the car. Mobb Deep is bad luck, man. It's bad luck. Again, it's Mobb Deep's fault. It's not my fault that I was doing 75 on 85 in a driving rainstorm, trying to get to Charlotte so I could have big fun with my friends. Yeah, to put it lightly, Jerm, I was scared as hell for about 10 seconds.
I know you was. You went from just upright driving to spinning. It's like,
and I mean, it happened so fast. Again, you know 85. I was in the far right lane. And I skidded all the way over to the left lane into what could have, and the median is wide. Yeah. And I spun through the median too. Fortunately for me, the only thing that happened was I damaged the axle on the front, I think right front wheel. Some guy coming down 85 pulled over, helped me out. I drove my little car and it was shaking. Drove my car to the next exit. And the guy was like, well, you know, I could probably fix it. The guy at the gas station was like, I could probably fix it, but you got to come back tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow? I was like, I got to get to Charlotte tonight. I was like, the fellas are there. I got to get to the fellas. And King Jerm, I managed to drive to Charlotte.
Oh, I know you did. That's why I was. That's why. Because I was just like, I want to hear how he left because I know he ain't getting it. Like I said, he probably was driving 35 miles an hour, but he was going like, we gonna get there.
Exactly. So what probably would have been another 2 more hours to get to Charlotte if I'd been, driving regular speed, took me about 4.5 hours. So I made it. And the next day I went to Firestone, got me a new tire axle, whatever it was. $300 down the drain. But then again, I was single, didn't have any kids.
Dropping the bucket of 12 count.
No, it wasn't a drop in the bucket. I ain't no money. But that was my money for the weekend. So, I was balling on the budget the rest of the weekend, man. But from that point forward, no more hell on earth. No more Mobb Deep in the car. No more. If I'm in the car right now and Mobb Deep comes on, it better be from one of their other albums. That Hell on Earth album gets no play in the ride. So it's always memorable. Always memorable.
That's crazy. They banned from the car.
Yeah, they banned from the car, man. Just that album, not their other albums. And I love Mobb Deep. But it's rest in peace to Prodigy. But this is Prodigy and Havoc's fault. It wasn't my fault.
You like Stacy on Minister Society. They gets no play in this ride.
No play in this ride. No play whatsoever. Oh, what you got for your 4th song?
Number 4, man. Since I said something about my son, I'm gonna say this about my daughter now. This
one particular
song, we're gonna fast forward to, I think it was 2007. My daughter, she was probably almost like a year old, but this one particular song used to come on the radio, and I don't care what she was doing. Like, if she was sitting in her chair, she'd just start rocking back and forth, just like every time she heard this song. And it was so funny that and it seemed like the song used to come on every day before we drop her off, at daycare. And that song was Fantasia's When I See You.
Wow.
And, so every time I hear that song, I think about my little, it don't matter when it came on, she just start like she could be doing anything, and that song come on, and she just start dancing, and it just was the cutest little thing. And not only was it a good song, but it just brings me back just her. Every time I hear it, I think about my little girl. So even when that song blew up, I was like, oh, I think about my little baby girl when she used to do that dance, and so that was my 4th song.
Okay. Is she still a fan of the song, or does she even remember that?
My daughter, my daughter is way more musically inclined than my son. My son likes all the ignorant music. Now he'll sprinkle some real music in there. Most of the time he listens to that garbage. Now my daughter, she likes music. What I'm saying? She'll listen to old music, new music, because old school rap. Because I told her about some old school rap, and she was just like, Dad, that's cool and all. Can you tell me about some women rappers? Like, I was like, okay, cool. What I'm saying? I'm glad you know what I'm saying? And then the sad part about it is she's a bard. Like, she is a big time Nicki fan. Like, but she listens to all. Now, if Cardi B comes on, you got to turn that song off. Like,
really,
she would not listen to a Cardi B verse. Like, if it's she will switch the station. It doesn't matter. Like, it could be, you could like that song. As soon as she hear Cardi, she turning it. Like, she's one of those barbs. Like,
so she die hard.
Yes.
Wow.
And what I'm saying? But she listens to all music. Like, the other day she listened to some Hall & Oates, and I was just
okay.
Like, I said, what you know about that? She was like, that's I like that song. And I was like, oh, well, if you want to know, I can sing you the greatest hits. And, so you could, dig a little deeper. But, yeah, so she's the musical one. My son is not. He listens to...
Okay. That's what's up. That's good, man. It'd be even sweeter if she knew that song. It's funny. It's fun. But to your point, I didn't know it was like that until I heard people talking about it on Twitter. But yeah, that the Cardi B, Nicki Minaj fans, like there's no intertwining of, like, you could find a Jay-Z, you could find somebody who's a Jay-Z fan and a Nas fan. But those two, woo.
Yeah, no, it's just, you can't, there's no room for both of them. Like,
damn, that's crazy.
Sad. It's sad that, but that's just how the women rap is. It's
I guess. There's definitely room for two. I guess, but if the fans don't want it, they don't want it.
Exactly. You either one,
Um,
you're a Duke of Carolina, you either a
there you
Barb or a
go.
Cardi B. You know, I forgot what they call the Barty Bang or Barty Gang. Or, I forgot what they call the Cardi B people, but yeah.
That's crazy. My fourth song, King Jerm, has Queen Jerm ever dedicated a song to you?
Yes. She actually sang one at our reception, and it was just the most awkward thing in the world, you know. But
Wow. Was it
yeah,
good?
okay. I don't like attention, so
Says the
use it.
man who has a podcast with millions and millions of people.
Yeah, but again, I don't like attention. Like you could I could walk by you every day, you wouldn't know who King Jerm was. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's not like that. But when you sing, you like putting me on the spot. I did not like that. You know what I'm saying? It was just
But it's your
so
wedding day. You're supposed
I
to be on the spot.
again, I don't like the attention, Kyle. Like I said, if I could just be in the shadows of my own wedding, I was cool with that. But here you go, dedicating a song to me, and I'm sitting there trying to look like, it's like everybody looking to see my reaction to her singing. So
Did
yeah,
you
so
cry?
no, I'm a
Oh,
real one, man. I ain't cried my
okay.
wedding. Dog. What are you talking about? And then look, people was acting like I was supposed to. Like you ain't gonna cry. Like, oh, I'm supposed to cry. Like my wife swear up and down I have no feelings. I'm numb to everything. She was just like,
Oh my
you have no
gosh.
emotion. I'm like, I do have emotion. I just don't show people because it's like they only gonna use it against you in the end of the day. So what's the point?
That you sound like Dolomite.
It's the facts.
Oh
That's why I
man.
tell my team, do not smile in pictures. They're like, why, coach? I said, because when you get older, they're just going to use it against you. They're going to show you a picture of you
Now
using
you
it.
can smile in pictures, but it's
Not
you know
not
what?
football pictures. Nope, nope,
Well,
nope.
we from a different era. We ain't do a whole bunch of smiling. So
Yeah.
um, that's funny though. But you know what? I can agree. I ain't big on the attention either. You know, I'm in the background. I'm in the cut like I done. You know, I
Yeah.
would, yeah, I got a podcast and all that stuff, but I don't when the spotlight is there. I'm
Yeah.
more comfortable with sharing the spotlight. I don't want the spotlight always on me.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, so I did have a song dedicated to me. Uh, fortunately, it wasn't at our wedding. But we were in the car one day and we were going to I want to say we were going to what's the name of that place? I think it's called Wild Kingdom or something like that. It's in like South, you know what I'm talking about, South
In Val
Georgia.
in Valdosta, yeah. Wild
Yeah.
adventure. Wild
Wild
adventures.
Adventure. That's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the boys were like really, really young. We didn't have Skylar. I don't even know we had Brandon at the time. It might have just been Dion and Cameron, our two older sons. And so I'm driving, and my wife Sharice, who right now we've been married 23 years. But this was 7-8 years in our marriage or whatever, I guess. I probably should have looked it up, but anyway. So we were driving, and she was like, I want to dedicate this song to you. And I was like, what do you mean? So, because I'm zoning, I'm driving, driving down 75 South, and I'm not really paying. I mean, we're having a conversation, and we're talking about, our love and our feelings for each other. And she was like, I want to play this song for you, and I dedicate this song to you. And she hit play. Well, she put the CD in. I didn't see the CD. She put the CD in. The CD was from a guy by the name of Usher Raymond IV, right? You might have heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
The song was from the Confessions album. The song is entitled Superstar. And when I listened to the words, I was like, oh man, that's nice. Mm-hmm. And so she was just singing along. And so like every time I hear that song, and it's funny, Jerm, because I went back probably maybe about 3 or 4 days ago, and I hadn't heard the Confessions album. I hadn't listened to the Confessions album in its entirety in a long time. And I played the album, and I'm like, damn, this is cold ass. I forgot how cold that album was. Now, granted, yeah, Usher was going through some things, but at the time that he made it, but that song was like incredible. And so every time I hear that song, I smile, and I get a little warm feeling inside, man, because she dedicated that song to me. That it wasn't like a radio dedication like it was back in the day when you would call your local radio station and dedicate a song to a young lady. But to be in a car with the wife and kids, and for her to dedicate that song to me, I thought that was really dope.
The Miag Mac.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
sure
they
that
like
one
to
of your
call it.
first dedication song. I'm sure it was. I'm sure you was the man on the night that what's they call it, the quiet storm. You know, all the ladies were. I'm gonna send a song out to Cal tonight.
That, and you know what's funny, John? That never happened. Nobody never dedicated a song, at least that I know of.
Hey, man.
Nobody never dedicated a song to me on the Quiet Storm. It would have been cool if it happened, but no, it never happened. But the one dedication that I do remember, two of my classmates from high school, I want to say, John, we might have been in middle school. If we weren't in eighth grade, we were in ninth grade. And I'm not going to use their names because I'm sure they're going to hear this podcast. But one dedicated the song to another, and it was the song from the famous rap group Salt and Pepper, and the song's entitled "I'll Take Your Man."
Oh man, that was shade before we knew what shade was, people.
And Jerm, when I say everybody heard it, everybody, and she did it real slick too. Jerm, she did it on a Friday night. So, you know, that thing had to bubble over the weekend. So by the time we got to school on Monday, oh my God.
That pot was nice and simmered. That gumbo was ready to serve. That's what it was.
Man, we thought it was going to be fisticuffs that day, man. It was so funny. She dedicated. And here's the thing. Both girls are like, their names were, you know, pretty popular. And their names, like, they're not like, it wasn't like Susan and Beth. You know what I'm saying? So when you said the name, both names rang out, so we knew who it was. So it wasn't like it was up for, you know, interpretation. So, yeah, man, that's funny. That's my funny dedication memory. What you got on the fifth and final song, man?
Well, the fifth song, you know, I've talked about a lot of things in my life, but I did talk about the most important piece, and that most important piece was my wife. Queen Jerm, as y'all know, is 2001. It was a song by this guy named Mario. It's called like Just a Friend or something like that, I think. And you know, because me and her, the way our relationship started out, we started out as just friends. You know, it wasn't nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? It morphed into a relationship. And during the whole morphing of the relationship, the song came out. She used to always sing it like, you know, you say I'm just a friend, all that little stuff. You know how women throw subtle. You know, women don't have no game. You know what I'm saying? So they throw subtle jabs. You know, like you just said, we ain't get no dedicated songs because we were doing the dedicating. So we knew how, you know, the game went. And so she was, you know, throwing these little subtle disses with this song. And so every time I hear this song now, it takes me back to 01 when I met her, and she was like that, the crossing of our, when we went from friends to lovers, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So that's my fifth and final memory piece.
Okay, Queen Jerm. Okay, Queen Jerm. I see you. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad. That's a dope song too. My fifth and final song memory song was it was a song that led me to a group that I'd never heard of. This was back, Jerm, I'm not even sure the year, but you remember the era of file sharing, right?
Yes.
File sharing for you kids at home before there was Apple and Spotify. If King Jerm had a computer, I have my computer here. If we belong to the same group, whether it's Kazaa or LimeWire or Napster,
Bear share.
Yep. You can share whatever. So if Jerm had a song from Ice-T and I wanted it, I don't have to call Jerm. I don't have to say, "Hey, can I get it?" All I do is just tap into the file, and I would down. Now it'd take forever to download an album, but you know, you could download songs or whatever like that. So that was our first way of making mixtapes or whatever like that. And there was this guy that had this thing, and I'll be honest, John, I don't even remember how or why I downloaded this song. And in the file it said, because it was a guy that had a lot of music, and you know, back then, if somebody had a lot of music, you would, you know, pick their files or whatever like that. And not only did he have a lot of files, but he was I think like a T1. So that was like, you already know. So he was a T1. So in essence, he had high speed internet. So I would be able to download this fast as all get out because his connection was fast. My connection wasn't that fast, but I was downloading from somebody who had a fast connection. So he had this file, and the file just said LIAB sampler. And I'm like, okay. And so I downloaded a bunch of shit. And I started listening to, I think I downloaded albums and then just some files. And I remember that was the last file that I got. And it just said LIAB sampler. And so one day I was messing around. I'd had these files for a while. And I clicked on the LIAB sampler and I'm playing it. I'm like, oh. And it was just a sampler. So the song was only maybe a minute and a half, maybe, if that. But the song was called Leave It All Behind. And it was from a group that I had never heard of. So I'm like, so when I listened to it, I was like, okay, this song is called Leave It All Behind. It's like, but I don't know who this is because there was no name. And a lot of times, you download files, you don't know who and there was, this was the early stages of the internet too. So I mean, like, I would have had to log on and dial up and all this stuff like that to find out who the group was. So come to find out, Leave It All Behind was a song, and this was a sample track that they had put out for people to find their music on the internet, and the group was called The Foreign Exchange. I had never heard of The Foreign Exchange. The Foreign Exchange is Nicolay and Fonte Coleman. And so I don't know who these guys are. So I immediately look it up, and then the Leave It All Behind album is actually out. So I'm like, oh, they got an album? And I went to go download. I was like, nah. I was like, this got to be hot. So I went to the record store, and I found it in Tower Records in Atlanta. And so I bought it. And if you see the Leave It All Behind album cover, it's just some chairs. So you don't know. So I don't know nothing about nothing. Come to find out. So I buy the album, listen to it, fall in love with the album. Don't know anything about Fonte. Don't know anything about Nicolay. Start doing my research, hit OK Player. Once I hit OK Player, the chat room.
Site, what's up?
Man, listen. Once I hit the board on OK Player, I found out everything that I needed to know. I found out that Fonte was in a group called Little Brother. I didn't know who Little Brother was. So I went back and found Little Brother's album, The Listening. Then I think the first album I listened to was The Minstrel Show. Then I went back to The Listening. And then I went back and I was like, then I went to Connected, which was The Foreign Exchange's first album. And from that point on, I became a huge fan of The Foreign Exchange, huge fan of Little Brother, huge fan of Fonte. And I've been down with them ever since. And like the Foreign Exchange camp is in my opinion, one of the most important camps. And I don't think they put out any bad music ever. And I know that's saying a lot, but like every single album from them and their friends in their camp has been incredible. And I've been hooked. I've been a fan ever since. And this year we're gonna do. We've already done an album review on The Listening. We're gonna do The Minstrel Show and Leave It All Behind album. But yeah, I got hooked, man. I got hooked, and I've been hooked ever since.
That's dope story. Yeah. Shout out to that site. You know what I'm saying? That site, you know about it. You know, you ain't got to ask about it. But shout out to all my that site members.
Oh yeah, man.
Funny story with Fonte. One day, I know Fonte growing up. And one day I was listening to the little Music Choice channel, and I was like, it's probably about '04 or some shit like that. So I'm listening to the Music Choice. It might have been before then. And I'm sitting there, I'm listening to this voice, and I was like, that dude sound familiar. Like, I was just like, that voice just sound familiar. Then I was like, what's this group, man? I hit the info button. It says Little Brother. I was like, oh, I don't know who that is. And so then, like in the Source magazine, they did something about Little Brother. And I was just like, I heard about Little Brother again. I looked, I was like, that's Fonte Coleman. Like, I said, I thought that was him on that song. And so that opened me up to go listen to all the Little Brothers. So I said, dude finally made it in rap. I was like, wow, that's crazy. He always used to rap in school. Now he made it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what made me support. And, I've never downloaded a Fonte album. I have purchased all his albums. I got Little Brother merch and all that because he used to have good deals back in the day. Like, you buy a shirt, they give you a CD. And I used to be like, buy a shirt. I got a free shirt. Well, I bought the shirt, got a free CD. You know what I'm saying? So you couldn't beat that, man. And shout out to Fonte. I still want my Root CD back. I let him borrow my Do You Want More CD. Never got it back. Never got it back.
Fonte, give Frocast, give King Jerm back his his CD.
Look, he said he was gonna get Amir to sign the other one, and I felt so stupid. I was like, "Who is Amir?" He was like,
"Come on, man, you don't know who Amir is? Amir Thompson."
We don't call him Amir. We call him Questlove.
Questlove, yeah, but you got to read the liner notes. You got to know the real names.
I'm sorry. You know, I did at the time. I didn't know, but I know now. You know what I'm saying? But it was just funny at that time.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I don't know if you'll ever hear this, but you and Fonte sound alike.
From North Carolina, it's just.
Y'all from the same area. You grew up around the same, run away from each other. But y'all, there's a tone. I don't know if it's just that part of North Carolina, but y'all sound alike.
East side of Greensboro, Bingham Street, man. Shout out, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to say. I'm just saying, we from the same block. Come on. Man. There you
go. So yeah, man, that story always that sample. And like I said, it just, I don't think I've ever had a bigger rabbit hole dive than, that following that sample. Cause again, the song is only, it might be 2 minutes. They only gave us like a minute and a half. And after that, I was hooked. I was like, I don't know who this is. I was like, but it sound dope. And when I got the album, I was really taking a chance because I purchased an album that there was no faces, because Nicole's face, Noah Fonte's face appeared on the cover of the album. So, I didn't know who they were, but I just know the shit was dope. And and it's funny. Last thing about Leave It All Behind, my sons, all three of them, guess what they call the Leave It All Behind album?
What do they call it?
They call it the Haircut album.
They know. So they say they know when they play that when it's going to haircut day.
Yeah, because I would cut their hair when they were little, but I had you want to play music and stuff, but I couldn't play my shit because it got a lot of cussing in it.
Yeah.
So I would always put on Leave It All Behind. So they're like, oh, Dad's playing the Haircut album, and so even to this day, even though they're bigger and they I stopped cutting their hair a long time ago, but anytime I play it, they're like, oh, Dad playing the Haircut album. So they still refer to Leave It All Behind as the Haircut album because again, it was something that I knew I could play, and the music was cool. It wasn't a whole lot of sexual innuendos, and I could sit there and cut a 10-year-old's head and not have to worry about him hearing a whole bunch of cussing. So, yeah. Before we get out of here, Jerm, man, tell folks where they can find you and where they can check out the podcast, man.
Man, first of all, thank you, 12 Cal, for having me,
bruh,
man.
Come on, man. You already know.
It's always a pleasure to come and kick it with you over here, man. Celebrity status,
This guy.
Like I said, listen, but you can find me. Me and my wife drop a podcast every Friday on all DSPs. It's called The Frocast. We drop every Friday. Come check us out. Instagram, Frocast. Twitter, The Frocast. We mostly do an Instagram live on Sunday, Toxic Bible Study. Me and a couple other creators, we come together. It's just like a powwow, sparring session of sorts. You know what I'm saying? But it's all in fun.
Is that what you call it?
Yes. You know what I'm saying? But please come check us out, man. Always listen to 12 Cal, and if you have time, listen to the Frocast.
Oh yeah, they got time. They definitely know. Anybody come on here, they got a dope podcast. You guys can catch me right where you're hearing this podcast at. All streaming services. New podcast drops every Thursday. From time to time, we'll drop bonus episodes on Sundays at midnight. And of course, you can catch me on socials at 12 Kyle. If you feel so inclined, hey, hit the Cash App, $TWELVEKYLE. That's going to do it for us. Me and King Jerm have taken you down memory lane, talking about some memorable songs. We hope that you've enjoyed it. Again, that's going to do for me and my man King Jerm. We'll catch you guys next time. 5Gs. Dude.